"Papa, why are the men shouting outside?" The small, trembling voice of little Sarah broke the silence of the wooden house. She clung to her mother's dress, her eyes wide with fear. Isaiah Johnson, a tall black man with tired eyes and strong hands, stood by the window. His jaw tightened as he watched the flickering torches drawing nearer. Behind those flames were angry white men, faces twisted with hate, voices heavy with threats. "Stay close to your mama," Isaiah whispered. His voice was steady, but inside his heart raced. That night in 1932 Mississippi, the Johnson family was guilty of one thing: saying no. Isaiah had refused to step off the sidewalk when a white store owner demanded it. His wife, Mary, had stood tall when a white woman shouted at her to call her ma'am. Small acts of dignity, simple human acts, were seen as rebellion. And now the mob had come. Inside the little house, the family gathered. Mary held Sarah, while their son, David, clenched his fists. "Mama, why they hate us so much?" he asked. His voice was full of confusion, not yet hardened by the world's cruelty. Mary pulled him close. "Baby, it's not us they hate. It's the light God put in us. Don't ever let them take that from you." Isaiah's chest swelled with pride and pain. His wife's words were the truth. But how do you protect your children when the world is built against them? The pounding on the door grew louder. A voice shouted, "Come on out, boy! You think you're better than us?" Isaiah stepped forward. He knew what would happen if he resisted. He also knew what would happen if he surrendered. Still, he placed his hand on Mary's shoulder. "Take care of the children. No matter what, keep their heads high." Mary's eyes filled with tears. "Isaiah!" "He loved you," he whispered. Then he opened the door. The mob surged forward like a storm. Rough hands grabbed Isaiah, dragged him into the dirt. They shouted slurs, spat on him, struck him. Still, Isaiah stood tall, even as they kicked him to his knees. David screamed, trying to run after his father, but Mary held him back, her arms like iron. "Don't, baby, don't!" The white men tied Isaiah to a tree. They demanded he beg for forgiveness. They wanted him to admit he was less than them, to bow down and call himself nothing. Isaiah lifted his head, blood running down his face. His voice, though broken, was strong. "I am a man, just like you, and you can't change that." The mob roared with fury. The ropes tightened. The air filled with violence. And then silence. The next morning, the sun rose over a town that pretended nothing had happened. White men drank coffee and went to work. White women hung laundry on the line. But on the edge of the field, beneath the oak tree, the stars had cried all night. Mary and her children stood in the grass, their faces pale with grief. Mary buried her little face in Mary's dress. David stared at the ground, his small hands shaking. Mary lifted her head to the sky. Her voice cracked, but it carried strength. "They can kill his body, but not his spirit. They can burn our house, but not our hope. They can try to break us, but we will not bow." She took David and Sarah by the hands. "Children, remember your father's words. You are somebody. You are worthy. You are strong." Years passed. The memory of that night never left the Johnson family. David grew older, carrying the fire of his father's last words. He marched for justice. He spoke in churches. He told the story of the man who stood tall, even when tied to a tree. Mary became a teacher. She taught her students not just letters and numbers, but dignity and pride. She told them about her papa, who refused to bow even in the face of death. Mary grew old, her back bent with time, but her spirit never broke. Every evening she lit a candle by the window. Neighbors asked her why. For Isaiah, so his light never fades. The Johnson family's pain was real, the injustice was cruel, but their story was not only about suffering, it was about love, about courage, about a black family who refused to let hate erase their humanity. And in the telling of their story, generation after generation found strength. Children who never met Isaiah learned to stand tall. Women who felt small learned to hold their heads high. Men who feared the rope learned to keep walking forward, because Isaiah's last words lived on. I am a man, just like you, and you can't change that. Hatred may bring fear. Violence may bring tears, but dignity lasts forever. The Johnson story reminds us that even in the darkest night, the human spirit can rise, unbroken, and one day, when justice truly comes, the stars will no longer cry.